Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Power Tips. We are excited to dive into, I think, one of our final reviews of some of the 2025 Wave 1 release features. And this time we're going to hone in on some of the Dataverse items that are in there. So I'm going to get us rolling with a couple of quick ones. The first one is an important one. They're both important, all important. But this one to me is critically important because data loss, data leakage, the accidental or perhaps not accidental removal of data from your system is always a concern. And so this item actually went live earlier to GA in April, as you can see, but I think it was important to layer in here just to make sure that people understand that this is even a thing that exists, because we get a lot of questions about, well, how secure is our data and what happens to our data? And so this is one of many features that can help protect it. So just preventing data exfiltration, which is the removal of data from your system, with app access control. So you can see some examples there, what it's going to do. Any safeguards that you can put in place to help protect your data, those are important ones. You want to build those walls as strong as you can. So that was one that jumped out. And again, not necessarily a new thing because it's been through the release planner for a while. I don't know that we've ever actually touched on this one, but an important one. So you've probably seen it there, GA in April. So that's good news. The other one is anything that includes a quote like you see here. This change is going to make resolving dependencies easier. If you are involved in this space and you've tried to move a solution and you have not run into a dependencies issue, I would like to meet you and talk about how you do that and why you've never had that experience, because I would bet the vast majority, if not everyone, has anything that is going to help identify what the issues are and make it a little faster to resolve those and go deal with the things and get them in the right place and move them over is always welcome to me. So also an item that went April, GA in April as well, but important one. Unfortunately, it's a little vague in terms of how they make it easier, but I noticed just from experience in doing this, the detail that they give you seems to be a little more robust, and it definitely is helping. Like, oh, I know exactly what's missing there. I'm going to go grab that, and away we go. So those are the two items that I saw. Not the most exciting because they're not new, but important ones in my opinion. Any
I
thoughts on
actually
yours?
say this latter one is very exciting. It has helped save me a lot of times trying to find what I'm missing and made it quicker and easier to resolve. So,
Good.
but I do like how vague the entry was. My very busy slide is up next. And what I did is I took a look at a section in the Dataverse release notes, which is called Extend Your Copilots with Dataverse Knowledge and Actions. So this one lives in the Dataverse release notes, even though most of them are about Copilot. They're all really short and quick, which is why we're going to look at them all. First, Dataverse as an enterprise knowledge and Copilot studio. Now, when I first read this, I thought, isn't Dataverse a knowledge source already in Copilot Studio? So the focus here, the big change with this is the word enterprise. So these are quotes, refined and streamlined for enterprise data. So this is mainly just looking at your ability to scale this on a large, safe, secure enterprise thing. General availability is listed for May. Here we are in July. It's still not GA, so this one is held up. Maybe it'll get bundled in with Release Wave 2, and we'll talk about it again in a few months. Second one is enable makers to create Dataverse AI columns with records. So that is allowing you to easily generate and summarize AI data using these AI functions that we're already seeing elsewhere. Public preview is later this month. It's not out yet. And no GA date listed. So this is probably, I think, going to get pushed to our next release wave. Third one, leverage knowledge recommendations to easily add knowledge in agents. This is just making that whole experience connecting knowledge with agents, not copilots, even though this says it's copilot, with one click. So it's just going to simplify that experience. You can play with it now, and GA is sometime this month. Fourth is standardized security role and system application docs. Doesn't that sound cool? Unfortunately, when you actually look at it, it has nothing to do with standardizing security role and system applications. All this is documentation. So docs here, the only thing they're talking about is documentation. This simply means I can use Copilot in Bing and ask it questions about my Dataverse security, and then it will surface the answers. So that was a bit of a letdown when I saw it. I thought, man, Kylie's going to love this. It's about standardizing security roles and applications, but it's not. And finally, use Dataverse table data as knowledge in Copilot agents. Again, something I thought you could do already. This is my blurb straight from the release notes. Add Dataverse tables directly when building agents, grounding your agents in data from either Dynamics or Dataverse. I thought they already did that, but I guess they didn't. It's public preview now, and GA is not yet, but sometime later this month. So that was a mouthful, all about knowledge and agents and Copilot. Did you guys have any thoughts about any of these items?
I think this AI, I of course love the AI columns, and I'm curious to see what that experience looks like and how that compares to the summaries that we were already seeing on case and account and things like that. And if it's the same or if we have other options there, I think that'll be interesting.
Great. I'm with you on the last one too. I thought that was a thing you could do already. So that the whole Dataverse piece also initially was confused. I thought it was overlap with the top one, right? But your column was perfect, right? Enterprise is the kind of the focus of the top one. And then the security roles one, I'm just curious what it's going to tell people. Is it what access they have? What I'm curious to play with that
one. It does sound like that. The release note said it's so hard to look at the bubbles and figure out who has access to what. Now you can just ask Bing in natural language. Can Malcolm see leads? Maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah. Is this talking to regular people or to makers or only, who's using this? And is it looking at all my security roles on myself and my teams? Or can I only ask about the details of a specific security role? I have some questions.
I think it says customers can use Copilot in Bing, no admin needed.
I have a lot of questions.
Yeah. Governance issues, right?
Nice segue for next week.
Anyways, moving on. I have a few features I pulled in here. So first of all, we have a feature around improved business continuity and disaster recovery. So we're supposed to be able to improve solution availability and business continuity for your business critical applications and data. So it allows us to kind of do self-service failover tests in the admin center, do disaster recovery drills, be able to sync the data in the case of a failover, and determine when and where to sync back to their primary location. So I think for me, this sounds like stuff that previously we didn't have any visibility into. We just had to trust that Microsoft was working on this and that we could trust that we had failover, right? And then if you needed to prove that, it's the whole thing, right? So now we'll be able to kind of self-serve and do those recovery drills on our own. And so that was in public preview in January and generally available since the end of April. Any thoughts on that? Oh, never mind. Just kidding.
Sorry.
Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Just that my only thought is a really good resource in addition to this information is I always forget the name of it. It's Microsoft's Privacy and something center.
The Trust Center, maybe?
Trust Center, that's the word. Yes, thank you. It has so much information and it's a daunting site to review, but there's a ton of good information around this kind of stuff and just general like what happens to your data, where's it stored, and what happens in a disaster, and how do we work with failover and stuff. So these are all good things to have, and that might be a good resource. Maybe we can put the link in the description to that. I'll grab it and make sure you have it so we can put it in there because it's a good source of information for this kind of stuff.
I have nothing else exciting to add on this topic. You two covered it perfectly.
The next thing I wanted to call out is the tenant to tenant migration. And this is something, once you've done it, you're familiar with the process. I think a lot of people don't think about it if they've never had to do this, but the idea is sometimes, let's say there's a merger or you have, you had two different tenants for whatever reason. I guess the main reason would be like a merger, or you're switching location, something like that. But there is a process. You had to put in a ticket. You had to fill out all these forms. You'd work with support to be able to do that tenant move. And then you kind of there's a little bit of lack of control that you have, because you're at the mercy of your support person on how many moves they want to do, when your moves are going to be, and all that kind of stuff. So now there's the self-service tenant migration, all available in PowerShell, so that your admins can control when you're doing this and can have more flexibility to move the tenants at different times and test those things. So there's additional documentation available on this. This went public preview in February and is set to be generally available sometime this month in July. I don't know. I think there's probably some limitations to these things. Certain things like moving from GCC to regular life commercial. I think that's one of the limitations, and I'm sure there are other limitations if you have special stuff going on, but something to check out if you need to do that.
Geo moves jump to mind. I'm curious if it can move from geo location to location.
I was
It
wondering
seemed-
the same thing.
I gave that as
that
an
was a bit-
example and then thought, maybe not.
Yeah.
I'm
but maybe.
intrigued by this. Do you think? I mean, I've done this before in a geo move, and I kind of enjoyed my role of just being on call for Microsoft, and like you do the heavy lifting and deal with all that. So is that liability now shift to like me? Like I have to be the one? I don't know. I haven't read the
Maybe.
release notes on this, and I have
Yes.
only done a tenant-to-tenant move in conjunction with fantastic Microsoft support people that helped me lose my weekend. But that's okay.
Yeah, all of this, when I've done it before, support has been great. I think the only reason it would be nice to do on your own is I think we wanted to do let's move test one weekend and wait and then move production versus moving everything all at once. I don't know if that's the more flexibility that we'll have. It does say it doesn't support developer trial and Teams environments, and GCC to public clouds or vice versa are not supported. But it doesn't specifically call out, where I haven't found it called out, that around geo moves. So that'll be something to research further. I think I have one last tip to share, which is enhancing the AI-powered experience with Dataverse search. So kind of what's important here is that there are improvements coming to Dataverse search, but Dataverse search is also going to become required for most of the AI-powered experiences. So that's kind of hidden down in there. But it says that this is going to be, I think the improved indexing is going to be needed to help Copilot and agents do their best work. It also mentions in the release notes that there will be increased storage consumptions related to this indexing and for those features. So kind of something to be aware of. Interesting to kind of hide those little points in the release notes, but something to be aware of, that it will improve your experience and will be good for Copilot, but there's also that storage cost that's needed there. That says generally available in June of 2025, but is not done yet. Heidi, you have some thoughts?
Well, that last point you make is interesting. We love CRM, we love model-driven apps and Dataverse, obviously, but that's the biggest complaint that people have. Like Microsoft, you keep adding new things that I didn't ask for, and you say I have to do it, but now you're going to use storage space, but you're not giving me any additional storage space to support these things that you're making me do. Yeah, and I just feel like that might be another unfortunate side effect of something like that happening.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions, because in the business value, it says disable search on Dataverse data entirely, offering granular control to help manage storage capacity as like an option. You can turn this on or turn it off for granular. But then it says further down, please note that subject to Copilot feature availability, Dataverse search storage consumption will increase to accommodate enhanced semantic indexing that powers features like Copilot and agents. So the
enhanced semantic.
Yeah.
So that's going to
So we have
grow
some
on like
questions.
all tables, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yep. So I know, at least
More
for a lot of my clients, I've had trouble getting adoption for Copilot just because of the storage of transcripts and other stuff. So this is going to continue to add to that for sure.
Agreed. Before we wrap, because I think that was the last tip, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is an impromptu riff. We didn't talk about this ahead of time, but it just struck me as we're talking through this, and I think I speak for all of us. If you're somebody who's been affected by some of the recent layoffs, there's been lots in the last few months, not only just this week, but some major ones. If there's anything that any of us can do in any way, shape, or form to support you, please just reach out to any one of us. Not sure what that would be or how we could support, but you're not alone in any of that. It sucks for everybody involved. And if there's something that we can do to help, just ask. Please just reach out and ask. That's all.
Thanks, Malcolm. Good call out. And thanks to all of you for joining us and listening in to our power tips. We'll be back in a couple weeks, maybe with more release notes, maybe with something else. We'll see. And we're not that far from the Wave 2 release notes coming out in the next couple months. So lots of exciting things coming for Dynamics and the Power Platform. Thanks.